In the winter of 131 AC, a Lord of Winterfell marched 20,000 men into King's Landing, took absolute control of the Iron Throne, executed the most powerful men in Westeros, and walked away from total power in less than a week. Somewhere in that story, a king gets poisoned by someone standing right beside him. This is the story of Cregan Stark and the 6 days known as the Hour of the Wolf. In the final year of her reign, Rhaenyra doubles the crown's taxes to pay for a war she's already losing, and her own capital turns against her before her enemies even reach the gates. While the small folk starve in the streets, a preacher calling himself the Shepherd enters King's Landing. He doesn't offer them food, he offers them someone to blame. Dragons, he says, are demons destroying the world, and every empty stomach in the city starts believing him. Tens of thousands storm the Dragonpit, and inside that burning dome, they butcher 4 chained Targaryen dragons: Dreamfyre, Shrykos, Morghul, Tyaxes. 13-year-old Prince Joffrey mounts his mother's dragon Syrax bareback, trying to save what's left. He slips midair and falls to his death in the streets below, moments before the mob tears Syrax apart too. Broken, with an empty treasury and a dead son, she pawns her own crown just to buy passage on a ship, fleeing to Dragonstone, believing it's still her safest fortress. She arrives expecting sanctuary. Instead, she walks straight into Aegon's trap, and he forces her own son to watch as Sunfire burns her alive and devours her in 6 bites. Aegon II retakes the Iron Throne carried in a litter, kept alive on milk of the poppy. His council is barely holding together, Larys Strong the Clubfoot operating in total darkness as Master of Whispers and Hand, Corlys Velaryon the Sea Snake brought in to secure what's left of the fleet. But the deciding move already happened weeks earlier far to the north. Jacaerys Velaryon struck a sacred pact with Cregan Stark before he died. A Targaryen princess promised in marriage to a Stark heir in exchange for the full military power of the north. 20,000 hardened Northmen begin marching south. As Cregan and the Rivermen close in on the capital, Aegon II refuses to yield, so his own inner circle ends it for him. He takes a sip of Arbor Red, and within minutes, the king is dead. Cregan Stark doesn't march south to celebrate a dead enemy. He marches expecting one final war and finds a murdered king instead. To a true Lord of Winterfell, poison is a coward's weapon. Young Aegon III names him Hand of the King, a title Cregan accepts purely so he can swing the sword himself. What follows becomes known as the Hour of the Wolf. 22 men arrested in a single sweep. Larys Strong, master of the poison plot, is given a choice and chooses execution. Cregan looks him in the eye and takes his head in one clean strike with ice, the ancestral Valyrian steel greatsword of House Stark. Corlys Velaryon is only spared because Baela, Rhaena, and Black Aly intervene, negotiating a marriage alliance for his life. Sir Perkin the Flea is exiled to the Night's Watch. Grand Maester Munkun is tried, found innocent, and reinstated. In a single day of judgment, he reshapes the entire Red Keep. Then he answers the question from earlier. 20,000 Northmen can't survive marching home through an early winter, so he arranges the widow fairs, marrying his soldiers to the widowed women of the ravaged riverlands, repopulating destroyed holds and rebuilding what the Dance of the Dragons erased from the map. And after holding the handspin for exactly 1 day of trials, 6 days total in power, Cregan proves he never wanted any of it. He drops the pin on the table, appoints a stable council of regents for an 11-year-old king, marries Alysanne Blackwood, and marches his army back into the cold north, leaving behind the most feared, most honorable legend Winterfell has ever produced.